The Daytona 500 off.
Oh, trouble, turn 3.
One car smashing off the wall and sliding to a halt. Caution is out.
That's our pole sitter, Jeff Green, in the 30 car. Sterling Marlin gets his lap back, Darrell.
Yeah, he does.
And Jimmie Spencer is involved in the number 7 and slides to a halt right near the entrance to pit road. At lap 95, the 3rd caution flag of the day.
Oh, that's a tire failure.
Definitely sound like a tire just blew on that thing right in the middle of turn 3 and 4.
Yeah. And Jeff Green is also out of his car and will take the mandatory ride to the infield care center. One car goes sliding toward the infield wall. It's Chase Elliott.
Oh, no.
Regan Smith spins out in the tri-oval, and when Elliott's car hit that grass, it's like the blade of a shovel hitting the turf. The front splitter just hits it and digs in. We're under the first caution of the day. Take a look at the number 24.
Right in here.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, it's also a tricky place to be. I mean, we're starting to see Hamlin become a big issue. You can see the back of the car just comes up out a little bit. Looks like the 19th of Carl Edwards. When he got up to his left rear, it just started pushing the air on that car, and it just took the air off of his spoiler, and around he came.
Well, you see Mark on the outside, front row.
Left front down so far that the tire hit the fender there, Mark.
Oh, that wasn't it, buddy. It was mechanically bound. It was locked. It wasn't a fender.
What in the world? I have no idea.
He's talking like the way he's talking to Ben Leslie is all of a sudden it just locked up. He was turning it left, and it would not turn back to the right. It just locked up. And Ben is talking about the air pressure being so low. Matt, what are they saying down there?
Benny, Chad Canals was lobbying NASCAR that they could bring the 48 down the hold-off, throwing the green. They are not, the way it sounds now, they are not going to do that. Chad is still lobbying. He says that his spotter told him that there is damage to the right front fender. Chad is still lobbying. And Rick Hendrick is now coming into the mix, helping to lobby on the 48 team's part.
And Matt, while that's going on, they're putting Mark Martin's number up on the board. He's being black flagged. Dave, what's up there?
It's okay. It's perfect.
Still posting us. They're still posting us. We got to come down and raise the hood.
All right. Having some troubles with Dave's microphone. We'll get him fixed in a minute. You see Mark Martin following the pace car down pit road as the field comes to the green flag. One championship contender in trouble before we even start.
And we heard Ben Leslie say NASCAR's posted us. We've got to come down and raise the hood. They do that.
They do that as the field goes green. 188 laps to make up the distance at Talladega today. Jimmie Johnson and now Jeff Gordon lead the field to turn 1.
But obviously Jeff took a look at that fender when he pulled up next to Jimmie Johnson. Didn't think it was bad enough for Jimmie Johnson to come down pit lane.
And we see Mark Martin is rolling, but he is completely out of the draft. That means he'll be about 3 seconds a lap slower than these cars.
Means he needs a caution fast to catch up to the field. Here's Kurt.
Hit this time. Hit this time. I want to change right side tire. Have that fender out. Take a hammer with you if you've got to.
The 48 car, Chad Canals talking about hit this time. It must be rubbing or something.
Hit this time. Hit this time. 3-1.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
So the top 2 in the championship in trouble already.
Well, it is pretty bad then.
Yes, it is. We see the damage to that right front fender.
Jeff Gordon leads lap 1. Rusty Wallace to his outside. They're 3 deep right behind him. Matt Yoakum.
And what will seem like an eternity, Jimmie Johnson finally comes to a stop. You can see the right front cosmetic damage. Shane Parstow going to work, trying to pull out that front valence, beating it with a hammer as they lose more and more time. Chad Canals, the crew chief, underneath, trying to beat out the front valence right underneath the Monte Carlo decal, changing right side tires. Jimmie now is finally down and away. A tough break for today's point leader.
And we've got big trouble up in turn number 4.
crashing into the wall goes Schrader. Here's Richard Petty backing off, very carefully picking his way through.
That's Hut Strickland in car number 68.
A crash right at the finish after Bodine had crossed the line.
And here comes Schrader trying to get across the line.
As to what happened, let's take a look with Ned Jarrett.
Since Schrader gets loose coming off the turn and loses the car, the back end goes completely around, and here comes Hut Strickland in the red and white car number 68 as Darrell Waltrip goes by on the outside, barely squeezes by, and Hut Strickland frams into the left rear quarter panel of Ken Schrader, and then he pushes the car number 68 of Hut Strickland out into the wall.
Out again.
Kyle Petty is going to stop again.
And Kyle Petty gets collected.
Kyle tried his best to get stopped. He kept watching that car come back up in front of him and thinking that he would stop, and he just ran right into it.
Ned, I'm not so sure they wasn't laying back, but what do? He did everything he possibly could and just nowhere to go.
The pole sitter, Kyle Petty, finds that Bobby Hillin car after it spun. He had whoa that thing every way he could, ran out of room. Take a look at what happened here. This is where it all began.
Okay, the light green car of Hillen's down on the inside, and there's Al Unser Jr. went up and clipped Dale Earnhardt and then back down into Hillen, and there they crash together, slide across the grass area, and then Hillen goes back up onto the racetrack as he comes off the grass. We'll see him.
Unser goes up first.
Well, Unser does go up first, and then here's Hillen going up. Unser gets back down on the grass, and here comes Kyle. He's trying to slow down, doesn't know which way to go. He's got the brakes locked, the car wouldn't cut, and slammed right into it.
Damage in the crash. Trouble in turn one. Oh, car on its roof. Michael Waltrip. Mark Martin is in it. What are the championship contenders?
Elliott Sadler, the pole sitter, on 38.
Heavy damage.
You can see what happens here, BP. You see Mark Martin there, and looks like Elliott Sadler got turned by Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, looked like he got hit by the 48 car getting down the corner.
And Michael went over twice. Look at the rear end hanging out of Michael Waltrip's car.
The 00 is Mike Skinner.
Okay, watch up front. Watch the 48 car. It just tags the 30. Just tags him. Just doesn't take a whole lot.
Michael coming here.
Poor Michael, he has no place. He makes contact with Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin.
That's what sent him over.
Yeah, Mark's the one that launched him.
Oh, man, those cars just getting by on the bottom tonight.